Hi, this is MJ from Lioness Publications. Today we're going to be doing a session on Melissa Hortman. Now, we're not going to be talking about her death per se. What we are going to be doing is bringing up something that I really haven't brought up in a lot of the sessions previous to this. And we're going to be looking at a specific planet in her charts. And that planet happens to be Neptune. And the reason we're going to be doing that is that Neptune can represent psychological desires of people, things that we have hidden that come up to the surface in different ways. It's also a planet that is heavily represented by cults. And in that case, what we do is we idealize a person or a group of people, because they fit either what we want or what we'd like to be or what we think they represent. I mean, there's a big, psychology behind cults, and I'm not going to get into that. But it is important to note that Trump's success in the past, let's say 10 years, has been largely due to Neptune residing in Pisces. And Pisces is definitely a deeper psychological type of sign. And it's a sign that's always shown by two fishes going in different directions. And what that means is the inability to decide on a path. What that brought up with Neptune going through this sign is that many people in our society wanted a strong man. They were afraid of what life was. They wanted someone to reassure them, to tell them, I will take care of everything. When in reality, another group of people was saying, no one has the ability to do that. We work together for a solution. Now, Neptune is moving out of Pisces and into Aries. So we can expect a big change in the cults that we have. As I noted, before it was more, we needed a strong person. There was so much that we don't understand. We want someone to just fix things. So we're going to be looking at Neptune primarily in her charts. And as I brought up the cult, we're going to see that, there's a lot here that was probably in the environment or the situation of her death. There was a lot that was involved with cults or people of different opinion, or the fact that she was not idealized by a fraction of people that needed to, in effect, stop her movement. So let's move on to our first chart, and this is the natal chart. We don't have a time of birth for her, but it's enough that we get, and again, we're looking for a sense of what was going on, so we're not looking for exact dates and stuff like that. So this will be fine. And the outer chart is what the heavens were like at the time of her shooting, her assassination. Now, I want to point out, we're only going to be dealing with one planet in all these charts. And there's a reason for that. I want to focus on Neptune. Neptune, we see here, has 3 angles against it. Now, Neptune in her chart would have been her ideals, her principles, her morals, all that sort of stuff that makes her what she wants to strive for. So when we look at what was happening, there are 3 angles that were happening about the time of her death. So plus or minus a few days, a week or two, but in general. So the first one we have is Mars. It's making a square angle, not friendly. Now that means aggression. Aggression against her ideals. Action against her ideals. So this is suggesting that in this case, it could have been something because of her ideals. And I'm not saying political, just because of what I'm saying, what she stood for. She may have been regarded as a threat. What else do we have? Jupiter. Jupiter has recently left an angle to Neptune, and that's a break and adjust. Break and adjust is something you cannot control. It's something that happens quickly, and it changes things. I mean, it literally breaks from the path. Jupiter, making that angle to Neptune, likely indicates that she was expanding her views. So this is an expansion. And in effect, she was expanding her views on what pretty much her progressive platform. And this would have been infuriating to some people. What else do we have? Uranus, planet of change. What is it doing? Opposition, conflict. So this was bringing up conflict in her life. People were against that. Who was against it? People that didn't agree with her platform. Now let's take a look at the next one, which is the progression. And in this case, we're only going to really look at one, Neptune. Again, we're looking to examine Neptune and its influence here. So we have Sun, and it is trying Neptune. So she was probably considered to be definitely a representative of her platform. She was gaining notoriety. She was held up as someone that, held the ideas of, in this case, the party, or it could be just herself. So her ideals were coming to be a reality. That's important to know. Let's move on to the solar arc. In this case, what do we have? Well, we have Neptune. Again. So, important. The first chart showed we had Uranus in opposition to Neptune. This is showing a conjunction here. That means it is coming to her ideals. What else do we have? Venus is in square angle to Neptune. She was likely bringing up the community against people that were not for her platform. Now, this could also represent that in conflict to that, or in sort of like a seesawing motion, she was also bringing up communities against her. And that's important. So she was starting to become a symbol. Not so much a cult leader, but a symbol of something. And what do people that don't believe with a certain movement do? They try and remove the symbols. And again, I'm trying not to make this political. I'm trying to show that Neptune, the planet of cult, and things that sort of, bring unrealistic expectations to a group, to a person, can sometimes end up in situations where people can be demonized. And hopefully, as Neptune is moving out of Pisces, we'll have less of that and maybe a different direction to Neptune. But we'll talk about that in another day. Have a good one now. Bye.